afternoon. My name is Sandino Gomez, and this is the first entry into my digital showcase. I'm going to walk you through a little bit of what I've learned in my first two courses as part of National University's Teacher Credential and Masters in Education program. I'll start by introducing myself, sharing a little bit about what I've learned so far, and then just kind of walk you through this most recent course, which was Introduction to Learning 602, Context of Education in the United States. I'm a 37-year-old Latinx male identified individual. I'm happily married with a beautiful son named Maximo and a lovely wife named Emily. And we live in Santa Cruz, California with our crazy dog, Chico Mendez, who keeps us pretty entertained. I've been a community organizer and an activist for social justice and kind of social issues and social equality for a very long time. It's a huge part of my identity, and I do think that becoming a teacher will be an amazing opportunity to professionalize a lot of what I've already been doing in schools and in the community, working for a lot of various nonprofits, including Kids on Broadway, the Resource Center for Nonviolence, the Museum of Art and History in Santa Cruz County, Project Bike Trip, all sorts of other really awesome, amazing local nonprofits that have been working primarily with youth in the greater Santa Cruz County area. So just a little bit about myself. I think kind of my thesis statement for this video is that I've learned a lot about the context of United States education, both the historical, the cultural, the technological, and other factors that have really helped create and shape public education in the United States. So I've just really learned a lot in this course, and one of the things I've learned about are the teacher professionalism expectations, and in this particular course we focused a lot on the TPE number 6 and TPE number 2. They are, number 2 is to create and maintain effective learning environments for students in education, and number 6 is developing myself as a professional educator. And I think I've done both those things fairly well in this course. No one's perfect, of course, but in this course in particular, we've had throughout the entire course a textbook. It was American Education, 18th version by Joel Spring. It was a very informative and well-written textbook providing a multiplicity of perspectives around education in the United States. We had some really amazing lectures. They call them Collaborate sessions through our online portal, Blackboard Learning. And Dr. David Carell has been our instructor this quarter, or I should say this month, and his lectures focused on the history and economics of public education, as well as how schools and school districts are structured, and some very important cases regarding public education in the United States. We also had an online discussion board where we would receive prompts every week and write about the various topics that we were learning about. It was kind of the way that we held, despite the fact that this is an online program and I haven't met any of my fellow students, I was able to collaborate with several of them in a group project, and through our discussion boards, we're actually able to host online discussions about the materials that we're learning. So it's a really cool way to kind of share what you think about what we're learning, and then have others respond and create conversations that kind of keep us going. Let's see. Our classes are structured where they are 4 weeks. It's an intensive 1-month course, and in week 1 we really focused on I'm not going to say the entire statement, but basically every TPE has different kind of subcategories that focus on different aspects of that category. So within the professional development of myself as an educator, in week 1 we focused a lot on TPE 6.7, which is understanding the educational system, TPE 6.2, where we understand our own biases and learn how to treat our students and others equally and fairly despite our own biases and despite our own beliefs. We focused on TPE 6.3, which is communication with our colleagues. Through our collaboration assignments, we really learned how to work across not only cultural differences, but also actual geographical borders that separate us. And then in section 6.6, we learned about mandated reporting and kind of the moral fitness and what it takes to be a teacher and to be a role model and to be an example for students, demonstrate good behavior and all that, proper appearance, you know. Let's see, we had a really amazing lecture that we got to watch by Dr. Regina Williams. It was a TEDx talk where she challenged us not only to see our students, but to really see the potential in them for greatness and keep that in mind as we work for them and work with them, especially when there's challenges that might seem a little difficult. We created 2 visual representations of our readings for the first week. They were PowerPoint. I chose a PowerPoint. Other students might have chose other things, but we focused, one of them focused really on the main economic and historical factors that have shaped public education in the United States, and the other visual representation focused on the technological and cultural factors that have helped shape public education. In addition, we have been working on weekly journals where we kind of self-reflect on what it is we're learning. The professor has provided us with some great prompts that help us think a bit about what we're learning. So the weekly journals were very helpful. The first one occurred in week 1. Week 2 focused on mostly on TPE number 2, which is creating the safe and effective learning environments for students. We did TPE number 2.2, which is exactly that, creating positive learning environments. TPE 2.3 is creating safe learning environments, making sure everyone feels safe and accepted and comfortable in a classroom environment. TPE 2.6, where we set clear expectations for learning and for our students. Then we also did a couple other TPEs, including 3.4, which is to plan for effective subject matter and multiple ways for the students to demonstrate their ability of that. 4.6 is to assess resources both in and out of school, so not only knowing what you have available in your school, but also what is available in the community that might support the lesson plans or the projects that students are working on. 5.6 is to work with specialists to help ESL students. We here in California, of course, have a lot of English language learners and English as second language learners. So working with ESL specialists to help our students succeed. And then TPE 6.4, where we kind of know when to involve others in our work, whether it's other professional colleagues, the parents of the students, or whoever it might be that can support the students' education and growth. Week 2 was really all about consultation, collaboration, and co-teaching. We focused our readings on those subjects, and then as well, our collaboration assignment taught us that, as I was stating, working across these geographical borders via technology is an amazing ability, but also has its own challenges. Communicating via email was something I wrote about in one of my discussion boards that was just like a little frustrating sometimes, where not everyone responds promptly or equally, and kind of just the challenges of communicating over technological means. We never actually had a chance to get our whole group together to kind of share ideas about our assignment. Nevertheless, I'm proud to say we did get our consultation, collaboration, and co-teaching assignment done. I'm quite proud of the work. I'm probably going to share some links soon in my channel, perhaps in the comments below or in the description. And yeah, kind of our second journal assignment helped us reflect on the kind of multicultural educational environments and how we navigate people and cultures that are different than ours. Moving right along into week 3, we had 3 main assignments this week in addition to our classroom observation assignment, which I'll explain in a second. We were able to choose from 3 different sets of options. They called them our main course, our appetizer, and our dessert. I chose to make, as my main course assignment, I chose to make a brochure explaining the responsibilities, the roles, and the rights of new teachers to new teachers. So kind of taking what I've learned and putting it into a brochure that someone interested in teaching could pick up and learn a lot of information about what it takes to be a teacher. In my discussion forum, which was the appetizer and the dessert assignment, I chose to explore how ethical behavior and moral fitness guide us as teachers and help us understand the TPEs. And then in my other post, I wrote about professionalism and the role of us as professionals in a classroom. The other big thing I did in week number 3 was my fieldwork assignment. As part of our coursework here, we actually go into classrooms with teachers who are teaching in the subject area that we'd like to teach. Myself, I want to be able to teach history and social studies, as well as hopefully going to be able to teach Spanish. Hablo español, soy bilingüe, muy orgulloso de haber aprendido cómo hablar español. And yeah, so I went into a classroom at Harbor High School, located here in Santa Cruz, California. It is my alma mater. I did attend Harbor High back in 1994 to 1998, and I had some really great teachers that helped me succeed in high school. I was probably what could be considered a potential juvenile delinquent and or at-risk youth. I wasn't succeeding in school, and it took some really amazing administrators and teachers that ultimately helped me succeed. I'm quite proud to say I got into UC Santa Cruz after high school, where I went directly after high school and eventually graduated with my bachelor's in community studies, where I focused mostly on kind of the global economy and some of the social justice movements emerging out of the late 90s and early 00s, focusing on kind of challenging the corporate globalization model of development and kind of looking at how we could create a more just, sustainable, and fair world between developing and developed countries. So whole another topic, we won't get into that right now, but I was really lucky to attend Harbor High School and graduate and learn as much as I did and to get into college the way I did, because it really helped shape me, who I am, what I believe in today, and I think it's been an incredible experience that has continued to serve me. So I was lucky enough to return to Harbor High. I worked with Miss Judith Mayer. She's a social studies teacher there. We're actually old friends that go back many years, and it was really great to watch Judith in action. She has an amazing rapport with her students and just really great classroom management. I learned a lot from watching her deliver a lecture on the Industrial Revolution, sharing some videos and some multimedia with her students, having them work out of some atlases. And I really admired her grouping of students of different levels and abilities to make sure that she created small learning groups or learning environments within her classroom. Of course, her classroom is a great learning environment, but then within that classroom there are, I think probably like almost a dozen groups that focus on helping each other succeed throughout the various assignments. So it was just a super cool model to watch. And then I conducted a great interview with Judith where I learned a lot more about teaching from her perspectives. What are some of the challenges facing students? What are the challenges facing educators? Kind of what are the limitations of education? All these great topics that we were able to talk about. And that brings us to week 4. We focused on different TPEs this week. TPE 2.5 is to maintain high and yet supportive expectations for your students. 6.2 is to understand our biases and to treat people fairly despite them. 6.3 was being able to communicate with my colleagues and talk to them about challenges or successes that I was having. And then 6.6 is, again, learning about the mandated reporting and the moral fitness required to be a teacher. In our journals this week, we focused on what can or can't help a student succeed. I wrote about working in a continuation school for a nonprofit community television. I was a digital media instructor and media literacy instructor, and partnered with the school to teach their students kind of how to produce videos from conception to execution. And I just remember a student that was going through really difficult times and was disruptive and challenging in class, and then come to learn the student had recently experienced deportation in his family. He had lost his father during our school semester. And I think it really helped me gain a perspective about kind of not putting my expectations of what the student should be going through or how they should act or succeed, and really meeting the student where they are and learning a bit more about their situation to help them succeed. You know, after I learned why that student was acting out, I'm proud to say me and the instructor, the teacher I was working with, were both able to really kind of adjust our teaching methodology to help that student a bit more and understand that some of these problems were not necessarily the student's fault. Our final big assignment for week number 4, despite the showcase, except for the showcase video, of course, we created infographics that demonstrated kind of what we've learned within our coursework this month, and sort of demonstrated how we connected what we learned to the TPEs, and where we kind of challenged ourselves to think and reflect about how we perceive our own role in public education and what we hope, the kind of teachers that we hope to become. So it was a really, I'll again probably put some of these actual assignments as links into the comments. Once I get some better video editing software, I'm going to be actually inserting them into these videos so you're not just going to have to stare at me for all this time. But yeah, that's about that. I'm really proud of my work and my choice that I've made to become a professional inspired educator through National University. I think this is an amazing challenge, and I've always said for years I've wanted to be, I love teaching. I didn't necessarily know if I wanted to be a teacher, but recently life has challenged me to step up and I think find a really great career. My mother was a teacher for over 37 years in an elementary school district on the east side of San Jose, and I could tell how much she cared about her students, and she was just such an inspiration. She went so above and beyond her classroom to make sure that all of her students succeed, and I hope that that's the kind of educator that I'm going to be able to become, and share the experiences that I've had, the inspiration I've had, the amazing influences and mentors that have helped shape me into the young professional radical that you see here before yourself today. I guess that's all for now. Thank you so much. If you have any questions for me, feel free to leave them in the comments below. I'm happy to have some discussions with y'all, and yeah, thank you again for being part of this. Cheers.